Hey marketers, Brand Hamill here. In today's video, I'm going through everything you need to know about the psychology of keyword research and the keywords that you need to start with within your Google Ads campaigns in order to set the foundation for success. Because if you select the wrong keywords for your Google Ad campaigns, your performance will just simply stink. There's no nice way to put it, it will just plain out stink. So let's jump over to my computer and we'll get started with today's tutorial. So here we are guys, back at my computer, and just to quickly run through all the aspects that we're going to go through in today's video, understanding the customer journey. It's not what most people think. It's not a linear process, it's not a straight line. People go in every which way direction when they're purchasing a product or service. So we're going to cover that, because that will allow you to select better keywords for your Google Ad campaigns. I'm going to show you what are the best style of keywords to start your Google Ad campaigns. This will allow you to get the best profitability straight from the start. So this is really important and a really powerful part of today's video. I'm also going to show you how to quickly evaluate the keywords that you have researched really quickly. Each keyword can almost be evaluated instantly. So this is a really quick method for you to say, yes, I should be using this keyword in my Google Ads, or no, I shouldn't. And finally, how to use the psychology of the keywords you've researched in order to structure your Google Ad campaigns. This is really important because there's some keywords that you just simply do not want to target, albeit they are somewhat relevant to your products or services that you're selling. It's really important that you know the differentiation, because as I said, if you get this wrong, your campaign performance will stink, and you might be of the belief that Google Ads doesn't work, which is really not true. And the proof is that the Google Ads revenue each and every year is going up by billions and billions. So with all this being said, let's jump into today's training. And just before we get started, I just want to reiterate that this video is part of a YouTube channel playlist of mine where I cover everything regarding keyword research. I'm covering not only the psychology of keyword research, but how to use the Google Keyword Planner, Ahrefs, so on and so forth, with other paid search tools, and also how to structure your keywords and organize them correctly within your Google Ads campaign in order to get the best performance. So it's going to be a really powerful little series of mine that will teach people how to get the best from their keyword research and how to do it in the quickest possible time. So with that being said, if this style of content, not only about keyword research but all about Google Ads and Facebook, is right up your alley, please consider liking this video and also subscribing. But with all that being said, let's have a look at the customer journey. Now, the customer journey is not always in a straight line as most people would like to think, or what a lot of marketing gurus kind of like to sprout and say that, build your funnel. The funnel is a step-by-step process that is obviously tremendously helpful if you can capture the lead and get them into your own marketing automation sequence, be it through retargeting or remarketing, or an email automation sequence, or some other various other forms. But when it comes to your funnel, yes, you have control, but you have no control over people making other searches within Google. So we can see here an example of a customer journey. Potentially someone gets an idea at a conference or a meetup, or they listen to a podcast or something like that, something that captures their attention or brings awareness to a potential problem or a potential benefit that they want. Now, obviously the customer has only just got a taste for this problem or a taste of this benefit. They're not quite sure of what's going on in and around this potential problem yet. So they start perhaps making some organic searches, they visit a few websites, they see a few emails potentially from an authoritative source that they've got a rapport with. But they're not ready to buy yet. They've got to go through the full consideration phase, which is really important, where there may be multiple search queries about comparative products or comparative services. Not only that, people are trying to find the best solution for their needs or wants. Now this might come in multiple different ways. As I've said, YouTube videos, display ads, so on and so forth. The customer journey can be a real mess when it comes down to purchasing a product or service. And the complexity of how someone will purchase and make a decision is really dependent upon the type of product or service that you offer. More complicated or more expensive products or services might take a longer customer journey. And I know this might sound like it's redundant and that you don't need to know, but it's really, really important when I start talking about the 3 categories of keywords, and you can then bring that back into this customer journey and see how people are moving through in order, starting their journey to the middle of their journey to the completion and purchase of your product or service. It's really important that you get to know this theory, because when it comes down to evaluating the keywords that you've researched, you want to be able to quickly say yes to this keyword or no to this keyword. So what I've done here is taken a screenshot of the top path lengths of people purchasing this particular client of mine's set of products. Now what this shows is the top path lengths that contain 5 actions or more, and we can see here that there's a whole heap of purchases, hundreds and hundreds of purchases that have been completed using 5 steps or more. So not just 1 or 2 steps, but we're speaking 5 steps or more. So for instance, on the first path, we can see a paid search, then 3 direct visits, then a referral. Again, we can see here organic, 3 direct, referral, direct, referral, direct, organic, 4 direct. So there's a whole heap of different ways that people are purchasing in really weird and strange orders in order to purchase this set of products. Now, I've said here that this is a real life incomplete example. The reason why it's incomplete is that I can't track if people are visiting other competitor sites, they're visiting review sites, they're visiting YouTube videos in order to learn how to evaluate this style of product. I can't capture that, unfortunately. I wish I could. It'd be fantastic if I could, but I can't. I can only see the interactions that people have within the marketing messages and marketing collateral, the marketing tactics and strategies I'm using that are tracked through the Google Analytics platform, be it a code, be it using the JavaScript or UTM, so on and so forth. So it's really important to really get an idea of how some people and a great deal of your prospects will take on a journey in order to purchase your product or service. Now, when it comes to the 3 different types of keywords or psychological groupings of keywords, the first one's informational based. Now, this one is people or prospects that are just looking for general information. The reason why I say people or prospects is that you have no idea on the intent at this stage of the person. They could be a student at university, college, or in school that is just doing a research paper about something semi or maybe even hyper relevant to your product or service, but they don't have the capacity to buy, or they don't have the intent to buy. That's purely just research or curiosity. These are really broad keyword phrases that can be kind of awkward to target, and I do not recommend targeting these when you're starting out your Google ad campaign. The reason for that is because the intent is a little hard to know, and it's a little bit hard to really narrow down on which type of informational based keywords are going to be profitable and which ones are not. Hence, this is not the best way to start when you're using Google Ads as a marketing medium. So just a couple of examples of informational based keywords is how do I do something? How do I paddleboard, or how does someone paddleboard? How can I paddleboard? What is paddleboarding? I'm just using paddleboarding as a pure example, but this is just a template that you can use within your product or service or business to quickly evaluate, is this an informational based product or informational based keyword, or is this a one other group is this another style of keyword that fits into another group? Sorry, a bit of a tongue twister there for me. Now, this doesn't give you an idea of every single informational type of keyword. There are a whole heap of different others, of course, but it gives you an idea of how to quickly evaluate informational keywords. Now, you might see these in your search term reports, and if you're unfamiliar with what the search term report is, I have a video on that. That video will appear somewhere around this video, either top left or top right, depending upon the device that you're in. And it shows you how to evaluate your search term reports, how to create negatives, and so on and so forth. Now, moving on to comparison or navigational based keywords. Now, this is kind of moving into the middle of your funnel. If you look at your funnel, as top of funnel, middle of funnel, and bottom of funnel. This is more around the people are evaluating. They're interested now. These are now prospects. They're not so much people like they were in the informational stage. These are more prospects. the intent or the willingness to buy is quite high. Not everyone want to buy, of course, but there is a far larger portion of this population of traffic that will purchase. So these style of keywords become far more desirable. The prospect at this stage is evaluating different options, and that's important to know because the intent is still less than the next segment of keywords, but it's still quite high, and this is where you really do want to make sure that you're starting the relationship if you haven't started it earlier than this stage, because people are looking at reviews, they're comparing, they're really finding information to drill down on what is going to be the best solution for them. The time to purchase in this kind of like middle of funnel or comparison or navigational keyword stage is really hard to give you a rule of thumb or even just a principle. The reason being is that different products and different services have different levels of complexity. So therefore you're not going to know exactly just how long. And as the example I showed you before or spoke about before, is depending upon just how expensive your product is or just how complicated it is to purchase, or is it a complicated solution or is it a complicated product, the more complicated or the more expensive typically will have a longer lead time to conversion. So here we have some examples of comparison and navigational template kind of keywords here. So location of paddleboard shop, just going along with the paddleboard kind of analogy here. You know, paddleboards near me, features of paddleboards, cost of paddleboards, etc. You know, directions to a paddleboard school. You know, I can't really think of one of hours of paddleboarding. The best hours to paddleboard. Probably not at dusk, as dusk and dawn. If you're somewhere like in Australia where there's, you know, a few sharks, you know, swimming around. Paddleboard reviews. You know, it gets somewhat kind of obvious how you can apply this to your products and services. Now, next we have transactional and buying-based keyword phrases. At this stage, the prospects know what they want. They're quite specific in the type of keyword phrase that they're looking for. It could even contain a model number, a brand plus product. So you kind of get the idea that this person's already been through the informational stage, this person's already been through the comparison stage, they're pretty much ready to buy. And at this stage, the prospect's really trying to find the most suitable product. And I mean, not in terms of evaluating the most suitable product, but they're looking to purchase the most suitable product. So whereas before in the navigational and comparison kind of keywords, the person is evaluating. Now this person is now selecting. So there's a bit of a difference there. Or perhaps the person has done enough of the comparison research, now they're just evaluating deals. So price, etc., customer support, benefits and features, additional bonuses. It's you know, you could talk about this type of stuff for a very long time, but you get the idea. Now, when it comes to examples, you know, I mentioned a few: brand plus keyword, model numbers, serial numbers, for example, being very specific with the product name, so on and so forth. Some other kind of keywords that could be related: coupons, buy paddleboards, paddleboard coupons, clearance for paddleboards, paddleboard deals, discounts, etc. Can't really download a paddleboard, but you know, just to give you a general kind of gist of some potential keywords. This is more along lines to give you an idea of how to differentiate keywords. So that's really, really important. So what do you do with all this information? Now, there's a couple of things that I think you should really pay attention to, is to think about the intent of your keywords and how it relates to your objective. Now, your Google Ads objectives, they might be somewhat different. So you might be gunning for email opt-ins, you might be gunning for purchases or consultations. Now, email opt-ins are going to be more at the start of the comparison stage and certainly in the informational stage. Now, you've got to be really clear about your objective, because you might have multiple campaigns. You've got campaigns for, as I said, email opt-ins or purchases or consultations, so on and so forth. So how do these keywords fit with the objective of the particular campaign that you're building? Now, remember, if you're building multiple campaigns, you have to reevaluate the intent of each keyword per the objective. So I hope that makes kind of sense, because it's really important that you get that right. Now, when first starting out, you want to start with transactional based keyword phrases, because they have the highest intent and highest conversion rates, and they can, I would say 90-95% of the time, have the lowest cost per acquisition, which is fantastic. But more importantly, the easiest to get working for people that are new to Google Ads. So if you're in an incredibly difficult or competitive niche, you want to start with buying based keywords because yes, the cost per click might be higher, but they're going to be the easiest to get working. Then you can start to add comparison based keywords and potentially informational based keywords. For the last point, I've kind of already touched upon this. You want to create different campaigns based upon the psychological grouping. One campaign for informational based keywords, another for comparison, and another for buying or transactional based keyword phrases. You can combine the comparison and the transactional, but I do not recommend combining the transactional and informational keyword phrases. The reason being is that the informational ones can be more like fishing in a big broad ocean, and that's not ideal. You want to be shooting fish in a bucket. But what it can do for you is the informational campaign can find keywords that perform quite well, and then you can move them into your either comparison campaign or into your buying intent-based campaign. Not only this, it also allows you to create objectives for the intent behind the keyword phrase. So for informational based keywords, maybe you're not trying to sell them straight away because it's just too difficult. It's a bit like dating, and if you're a fan of my videos, you know that I use this analogy quite a fair bit. But asking for marriage on the first date is not ideal. Asking for a sale in the informational keyword phrase stage is not ideal. But asking for a cup of coffee, going on a couple of dates. So example would be informational keyword phrase, sending to a landing page, capturing the email. That's the first date. We force in a nice political correct way the next couple of dates. So that would be an email automation sequence. We can send them 6 emails across a week or two. That takes them on a 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th date. Then we can ask for marriage. We can ask for the sale then. So that's another reason why you want to separate informational based keywords to the other 2 groupings, because you can create a specific objective to cater for those style of keyword phrases. Again, I just want to reiterate that if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and a like and subscribe. And don't forget to check out the playlist for the keyword research. I cover so many different topics that I mentioned earlier. Also, there's no doubt that Google Ads is tricky. It's a bit like chess, easy to learn, but it takes a lifetime to master. And if you're interested in either working with me or better yet, you want a free analysis of your Google Ads, whip over to my website at brandhamel.com. All you have to do is just slide down here, click this big button, fill out your information. What I can do is have a quick phone call with you for about 10 minutes, get some context of your business and the products and the services that you have to offer. I can then go in and do a free analysis of your Google ads, your Facebook ads, your email automation sequences, your landing pages, so on and so forth. That's completely free. I do it via video, very similar to this. It's private. You get a copy of that. I show you how to improve, scale, and optimize the different areas of your digital marketing. Choose Your Powerful. It's completely free. And then you and I can have a conversation after that in case you have any questions about the video. There's no obligation, there's no selling, very much like this tutorial. I'm not trying to sell anything to anyone. And some people like to entertain the idea of potentially working together, me doing all your digital marketing to really hammer home and get some crazy results for your business, but that's completely up to you, of course. So with all that being said, that is everything that you need to know about the psychology of keywords. So I look forward to seeing you in future videos, and if you have any questions, please drop them down in the comment section below, and I'll see you in the next video.